The Forgotten Fleet Chapter 1. A hidden power. The space station Prometheus drifted silently in the void, its hull scarred black to avoid detection by Dominion long-range sensors. Commander Elena Vasquez pressed her palm against the cold observation deck window, watching the endless dance of construction drones as they put the finishing touches on humanity's greatest secret. Behind her, the soft hum of machinery mixed with the urgent whispers of engineers who had spent their entire lives preparing for this moment. Final systems check complete on the Nemesis, reported Chief Engineer Marcus Torres, his voice tight with anticipation. All vessels show green across the board. The fleet is ready, Commander. Elena turned from the window, her reflection briefly overlaying the massive warships floating in the station's shadow. 57 vessels of unprecedented design, each one a technological marvel born from centuries of desperate innovation. While the galaxy believed humanity was extinct, scattered survivors had been building, planning, preparing for this day. How many people know about this operation? She asked, studying the holographic display that showed the fleet's full composition. Outside this station, fewer than 100, Marcus replied. Sarah Chen, her inner circle, and the fleet commanders. Everyone else believes we're still fighting with salvaged Dominion technology. Elena nodded, feeling the weight of the secret pressing down on her shoulders. The Prometheus had been home to 3 generations of humanity's best minds, all working toward this singular goal. Children had been born in these corridors, lived their entire lives in service to a dream of vengeance their parents might never see realized. Through the station's reinforced hull, she could see the flagship Retribution's end, a vessel that dwarfed even the largest Dominion battle cruisers. Its bioadaptive armor gleamed with an inner light, powered by energy systems that existed nowhere else in the galaxy. The ship's AI core contained the accumulated knowledge of every human civilization that had ever existed, their wisdom forged into digital consciousness. The outer scouts report Dominion forces are still scattered from our last strike, Marcus continued. Their supply lines are stretched thin, and they're expecting us to hit the mining colonies in the Kepler system. Good, Elena said, allowing herself a small smile. Let them think we're still playing by their rules. The station's communications array crackled to life, Sarah Chen's voice cutting through the static. All stations, this is command. Operation Lazarus is authorized. The Forgotten Fleet has waited long enough in the shadows. Elena felt her heart skip as she activated the station-wide comm system. Throughout the Prometheus, engineers and technicians stopped their work to listen. Attention all personnel. This is Commander Vasquez. Today, we finish what our ancestors started. Today, we remind the galaxy that humanity refuses to die. While the galaxy believed humanity was on the brink of extinction, she thought, watching the first ships of the Forgotten Fleet power up their engines. They were quietly rebuilding, secretly constructing a fleet that could change the tide of the war. Hidden in the darkest corners of space, the key to their future awaited its moment. Chapter 2. The Forgotten Fleet. Hangar bay of the Retribution's end stretched for nearly a kilometer, its vast space filled with fighter craft that defied conventional design. Captain David Kim walked among the sleek vessels, their hulls incorporating technology that had taken humanity 3 centuries to perfect. Each ship was a masterpiece of engineering, built not just for war but for the complete annihilation of everything the Dominion represented. Report on the fleet's capabilities, he requested, his voice echoing in the cavernous space. 57 vessels total, replied his tactical officer, Lieutenant Sarah Park. 12 dreadnoughts, 23 battlecruisers, and 22 assault carriers. Each ship is equipped with adaptive shielding that can absorb and redirect energy. Where pans, the Dominion's plasma cannons will be about as effective as throwing rocks. Kim nodded, remembering the decades of testing that had gone into perfecting those shields. Humanity had captured every type of Dominion weapon system, studying them obsessively until they could predict and counter every possible attack pattern. What about offensive capabilities? Quantum railguns capable of punching through any known armor, Park continued, her excitement barely contained. EMP torpedo systems that can shut down entire fleets, and close-range plasma cutters that can slice through a Dominion hull like tissue paper. But the real surprise is the Worldbreaker. Kim's expression darkened as he thought about the weapon. Housed in the flagship's core, the Worldbreaker was humanity's ultimate answer to Dominion's superiority, a gravitational manipulator that could create artificial black holes, tear space-time itself, or crush entire fleets with the force of a collapsed star. It was also the most dangerous weapon ever created, capable of destroying the ship that fired it if not properly controlled. The AI systems are fully integrated, Park added. Each ship can think and react faster than any organic crew. They'll adapt to Dominion tactics in real time, learning from every exchange of fire. Kim paused before a fighter craft whose hull seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. The stealth capabilities beyond anything the Dominion has encountered. The hulls can bend light, absorb sensor pings, and even mimic the energy signatures of space debris. We could park the entire fleet in orbit around their capital world, and they wouldn't know until we started shooting. The captain smiled grimly. Humanity had learned hard lessons about the price of being discovered too soon. This time they would control every aspect of the engagement, and the ground assault capabilities. Each carrier holds 10,000 Marines, equipped with powered armor based on captured Dominion technology, but we've improved it faster, stronger, and equipped with weapons that can punch through their The boarding pods can cut through any hull, and the assault shuttles can establish beachheads on any world. Kim walked to the hangar's observation deck, where he could see the other ships of the fleet floating in perfect formation. Each vessel represented humanity's determination to not just survive, but to reclaim their place in the galaxy. The technology was impressive, but it was the will behind it that made the fleet truly dangerous. How long until we reach the target? He asked. 18 hours at current speed. The Dominion won't even know we're coming until we're already in their midst. This hidden fleet, built in the shadows of human ingenuity. Kim thought, watching the stars wheel past the hangar's force field. Was more than just a weapon. It was a force designed to turn the tide of the war in humanity's favor. From advanced shields to stealth capabilities, it was clear the Dominion had no idea what was coming. Chapter 3. The decision to unleash the fleet commander. Sarah Chen stood before the holographic display in the war room of the Retribution, her fingers tracing the enemy positions scattered across the tactical map. The Dominion had spread their forces thin, confident that humanity's scattered fleet posed no serious threat. They were about to learn how wrong they were. "The window is closing," said Admiral Martinez, his weathered face reflecting the strain of months of careful planning. "Our last strikes have put them on alert. If we wait much longer, they'll consolidate their forces and we'll lose the element of surprise." "The fleet isn't just a weapon," cautioned Dr. Elizabeth Hayes, the fleet's chief strategist. "It's our entire future. If we reveal it too soon and they find a way to counter it, we'll have nothing left." Sarah studied the faces around the table, men and women who had spent their entire lives preparing for this moment. The weight of humanity's survival rested on this decision, and she could feel the pressure of that responsibility in every breath. "What's the worst-case scenario?" she asked. "They adapt faster than we anticipate," Martinez replied grimly. "The Dominion has shown remarkable ability to reverse engineer captured technology if they get their hands on even one of our ships intact." "They won't," Sarah interrupted. "Every ship has a quantum destruct system. Nothing falls into their hands." "The best-case scenario is total victory," Dr. Hayes added. "The fleet is powerful enough to cripple their entire military infrastructure in a single coordinated strike, but that requires perfect execution and a lot of luck." Sarah walked to the viewport, watching the stars stream past as the Retribution continued its patrol route. Somewhere out there, the Forgotten Fleet was moving into position. 50 ships carrying the hopes and dreams of every human who had ever lived. "My daughter was born on one of the colony worlds," she said quietly. "She never got to see Earth, never got to experience what we lost. But Dominion took that from us, took everything from us. But they made a mistake. They let us live long enough to remember." She turned back to the council, her resolve hardening. "We've spent 3 centuries preparing for this moment. We've sacrificed everything, lived in shadows, died in silence, all for this chance. The Dominion thinks they've won, thinks humanity is broken. Let's show them what broken looks like when it gets back up." "There's another consideration," Martinez said carefully. "Once we reveal the fleet, there's no going back. The Dominion will know we're not just insurgents, we're a threat to their entire empire. They'll come at us with everything they have." "Good," Sarah replied, her voice filled with cold determination. "I'm tired of hiding. I'm tired of picking at the edges while they rape and pillage what's left of our worlds. It's time to remind them why humanity once ruled the stars." The council exchanged glances, understanding the magnitude of what she was proposing. This wasn't just about winning a battle, it was about reclaiming their identity as a spacefaring species. "The fleet is ready," she continued. "Our people are ready. The question isn't whether we can win, but whether we have the courage to try." and I'd rather die fighting as humans than live hiding as ghosts. We've waited too long, she thought, activating the fleet-wide communication system. Asterisk, we've seen the Dominion's cruelty, and we've watched them grow arrogant. Now, we have the means to end this war on our terms. The fleet is ready, and we're going to use it. Asterisk, ## Chapter 4. The first battle with the hidden fleet. The Dominion fortress at Kepler 4 for to be hung in space like a metallic tumor, its massive bulk bristling with weapons emplacements and sensor arrays. Admiral Kekstar commanded the system from his flagship. Confident that humanity's ragtag fleet would never dare approach such a heavily defended position, he was about to discover just how wrong he was. Contact bearing 37 Mark IV, reported his sensor operator, her voice puzzled. It's strange, sir. The readings are inconsistent. Kekstar's mandibles clicked irritably. Define inconsistent. The signatures are human, but the energy readings are off the scale. Sir, I'm detecting 57 vessels approaching at maximum speed. The Admiral's compound eyes widened in disbelief. 57 ships would represent the entire human fleet, and they had never been foolish enough to concentrate their forces in a single location. Are you certain of that count? Confirmed, sir. And they're not trying to hide, they're coming straight at us. Kekstar activated his tactical display, watching the approaching fleet with growing unease. The human vessels were moving in perfect formation, their approach vector designed to maximize the effectiveness of their attack. This wasn't the desperate strike of a dying species, it was the calculated assault of a military force. All ships to battle stations, he commanded. Launch all fighters and prepare for engagement. Show these humans what happens when they challenge the Dominion. The space around the fortress erupted into chaos as Dominion vessels moved to intercept the human fleet. Plasma cannons charged, missile tubes loaded, and thousands of fighters streamed from the carrier bays. Kekstar watched the deployment with satisfaction. If the humans had somehow assembled their entire fleet, they were still vastly outnumbered. That satisfaction vanished as the first human ship opened fire. The quantum railgun round struck the Dominion cruiser Vengeance with the force of a small asteroid. The ship's bioarmor, designed to deflect conventional weapons, simply ceased to exist as the projectile passed through it. The cruiser broke apart in a brilliant explosion, its wreckage scattering across the void. What in the void was that? Kekstar demanded, staring at the tactical display in shock. Unknown weapon system, sir, his tactical officer replied, his voice shaking. Energy readings unlike anything in our databases. The human fleet continued its advance, their weapons reaching out to touch Dominion vessels across impossible distances. Each shot was perfectly aimed, striking critical systems and reducing proud warships to drifting hulks. The Dominion's return fire seemed to have no effect. Their plasma bolts were absorbed by shimmering energy shields that adapted to each attack. Sir, we're getting reports from the destroyer, the communications officer announced. Their weapons are having no effect on the human shields. The energy is being absorbed and redirected. Kekstar watched in horror as the human fleet carved through his forces like a blade through flesh. The ships moved with inhuman precision, their AI systems predicting and countering every Dominion tactic. What should have been a glorious victory was turning into a massacre. Deploy the gravity mines, he ordered desperately. Full spread around the human formation. The mines detonated in a carefully coordinated sequence, creating gravitational fields designed to tear apart any vessel caught within them. But instead of destroying the human ships, the mines seemed to have no effect. The enemy vessels continued their advance, their hulls shimmering with some kind of gravitational shielding. Sir, the flagship is targeting us directly, the tactical officer reported. Massive energy buildup. Sir, I think they're preparing to fire their main weapon. Kekstar stared at the human vessel approaching through the debris of his fleet. The ship was enormous, larger than any human vessel he had ever seen. Its hull gleamed with an inner light, and he could see weapon systems that defied his understanding of physics. All power to shields, he commanded. Prepare for the world break. Fired, and space itself seemed to scream. The gravitational pulse struck the Dominion fortress with the force of a collapsed star, crushing the massive structure like an eggshell. The shockwave swept through the remaining Dominion fleet, tearing apart any ship that hadn't already been destroyed. Kekstar's flagship survived the initial blast, but its systems were failing. Emergency lighting flickered as hull breaches vented atmosphere into space. Through the bridge viewports he could see the human fleet surrounding his position, their weapons trained on his crippled vessel. This is Commander Sarah Chen of the Terran fleet, came a voice over the communications system. You are defeated. Surrender now. and your crew will be treated according to the laws of war. In the shadows of space, Kekstar thought, staring at the human fleet in shock and awe. Humanity's greatest weapon had been hidden away, and now it was unleashed. The Dominion was unprepared, and they paid the price. The forgotten fleet had arrived, and with it, humanity's victory was assured. Chapter 5. The message sent to the Dominion. The bridge of the Retribution's End hummed with quiet efficiency, as Commander Sarah Chen stood before the main display, watching the final Dominion vessel limp away from the battlefield. The space around Kepler 442b was filled with debris, the remains of what had once been the Dominion's most powerful fortress. The forgotten fleet hung in space like avenging angels, their hulls unmarked by enemy fire. Casualty report, Sarah requested, though she already knew the answer. 0 losses, minimal damage to 3 vessels, reported Captain Kim. The Dominion never penetrated our shields. Their weapons were completely ineffective against our defensive systems. Sarah nodded, feeling a mixture of satisfaction and sadness. The victory was complete, but it had come at the cost of revealing humanity's greatest secret. The galaxy would never be the same. Open a channel to the retreating Dominion vessel, she commanded. Full spectrum broadcast. I want every Dominion ship within 100 light-years to hear this message. The communications officer nodded, his fingers dancing across the control panel. Channel open. Commander, you're broadcasting across all frequencies. Sarah stepped forward, her image being transmitted to every Dominion vessel in the sector. Behind her, the forgotten fleet formed a perfect battle line, their weapons still charged and ready for combat. This is Commander Sarah Chen of the Terran fleet, she began, her voice carrying across the void to reach the survivors of humanity's first great victory. For 3 centuries, you have hunted us, enslaved us, and tried to erase us from existence. You believed we were extinct, that humanity was nothing more than a ghost story told by frightened colonists. She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. Today you learned the truth. We are not extinct. We are not broken. We are not hiding anymore. The fleet you just faced represents only a fraction of humanity's true strength. We have been preparing for this moment since the day you first attacked our worlds. The tactical display showed Dominion vessels across the sector changing course, some fleeing toward their home systems while others moved to investigate the source of the transmission. Let them come, Sarah thought. Let them see what humanity had become. You called us weak because we showed mercy, she continued. You called us inferior because we valued individual life over collective strength. But those same qualities that you saw as weaknesses have become our greatest strengths. We fight not just for survival, but for the right to exist as free beings in a galaxy you have turned into a prison. Her voice hardened, carrying the full weight of 3 centuries of suffering. This is our declaration of war. Not the guerrilla actions you have grown accustomed to, but total war. We will not stop until every human world is free, until every slave chain is broken, until the very concept of the Dominion is nothing but a cautionary tale told to children. The fleet behind her began to move, their formation shifting to display the full extent of their power. Weapons that could crack planets, shields that could turn stars, and the collective will of a species that had learned to thrive in the darkest corners of space. Tell your Empress, Sarah said, her image burning into the mind of every Dominion commander watching, that humanity sends its regards. Tell her that we remember every world you burned, every child you enslaved, every dream you crushed, and tell her that we are coming to collect the debt. The transmission ended, leaving only the cold silence of space. Across the galaxy, Dominion commanders stared at their screens in shock and disbelief. The humans they had dismissed as scattered refugees had just announced themselves as the most dangerous threat that Dominion had ever faced. On the bridge of the Retribution's End, Sarah turned to her crew. Set course for the Vega system. It's time to remind the galaxy what humanity can accomplish when we stop hiding and start fighting. The Dominion thought they had the galaxy in their grasp, she reflected, watching the stars wheel past the bridge. Viewpoints *, but humanity's hidden weapon has shattered that illusion. The war is far from over, but now, the Dominion knows they are no longer the most powerful force in the galaxy. *, the forgotten fleet moved through space like a force of nature, carrying with them the hopes and dreams of every human who had ever lived. Behind them, the wreckage of the Dominion fortress served as a monument to the beginning of the end, the first victory in what would become known as the War of Reclamation. The galaxy was about to change forever. To be continued.